Hello, everybody. My name is Hello. Welcome back to the series where we're dealing with Flutter programming. In this video, again, in this series, we're trying to demystify, trying to simplify a lot of the Flutter concepts. And one major concept that you have in your lab exam or when you're learning through Flutter is how do you create a video player. Now, when you're looking into the code, when you're looking into references or other YouTube videos, there are going to be hundreds of lines of code, and all of which will be overwhelming for you. So this will be probably the most easiest implementation to create a video player for Flutter. So as you can see, there's only 70 lines of code, but a lot of that is command lines also. So I am going to tell you guys how to achieve this. We'll walk through this code. We'll talk about what and all do you need when you're dealing with a video player, and we'll go over all of that. Now, let's start with import. Something that's constant throughout the series is the material import, but something that you also need to keep in mind in this particular case would be package colon video player slash video player dot. What this gives you, it actually gives you a widget called video player, which will be important. We'll come back to that. Okay. Now, what are we going to do in this application? This is what I've written down. I'm going to be going over that. Okay. First of all, when you're dealing with a video player, something that you need is a video controller. Okay, because that is something that you need for your lab or video players in general, because when you're having a video, you should be able to pause or play that video. That happens through a controller. Okay, so you're going to be needing a video controller definitely. But before that, you're going to be needing permission to access the internet, because you're going to be running a video from the internet. So in order to have Flutter to have access to the internet, something that you have to do is go to your Android folder. Inside that, go to app, source, and then main. Inside that, you have this thing called Android manifest.xml. Okay, there in line 33 or something, after this application ends, add this line right here. This won't be that by default. What this line says is this application uses the permission, which is an Android permission, with the name android.permission.internet, basically saying this application can use the internet, which will be something that is important. Okay. And now what we're going to be doing here is we are going to be initializing this video controller, and inside that video controller, we're going to be linking the video that we just have. That controller is what we're going to be sending to the player. Okay. If that makes sense, that's all right. Now, then what we're going to be doing, see, when you're building a video player, something that you have to have is pause play, something I told you. Let's loop our video also so that it doesn't end. By default, videos will have sound, so that is something that we don't have to worry about. Something that we do have to worry about is what happens if this video is not initialized. So you see this video right here, press the play button, you can see that it moves, and also there's sound. Maybe you don't listen to it on the video because I've muted desktop audio, but this is what the video player will look like. So something that you have to have is this video should be successfully loaded in the first place. So when you're using a stateful widget and you're declaring the initial state, right? There is something called as a function which declares the initial state. So what happens when Flutter boots up your particular application? There we have to say, go ahead and make sure that my video is loaded before people start messing with the pause or play button, which you have right here. Okay, so that is something that you need to set properly. You have to check whether the video controller is initialized properly, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so once that is done, and that's what we're going to be making sure here, let's go ahead and start with the code. Something that's constant is the void main function. It's going to be running a widget called page here. So page will be nothing but a stateful widget. Let's just call that page. You have something called as a page state. So something I told you already is you're going to have a video controller, right? The video controller is nothing but you have to declare this controller. So I'm going to say video player controller, and then let's call this vid controller. Okay. Now let me explain this line again. Late means this won't be initialized right now. It'll be initialized somewhere, but I'm declaring that there will be a video player controller with the name vid controller. Okay. Now, as I told you, we're going to be overriding some stuff. What does overriding mean? Well, Flutter has some default functions. We are going to override that function to specify our custom needs. In this case, when the application opens, I am going to specify that it should go ahead and initialize my video and make sure that it's ready to play. For that, I am actually going to override a function, and this function will be called, so override is a decorator, right? I'm going to be overriding this thing called init state. This is something that Flutter calls by default whenever you run an application. Now, I have to make something very clear. When I say override, I'm not going to rewrite a lot of stuff. I'm just going to add some extra stuff. So I need everything that's already there plus whatever I do. So in order to call everything that's already there, do super dot init state. This will just call all of the parent method. Then we'll go ahead and initialize our video controller. Okay. So our video controller will be nothing but video player controller. Okay. Now here we are going to, there is something. So asset will be something that is there inside, but we're going to be using the internet. So we're not going to be using the asset method. We're going to be using the network URL method. There you actually have to provide a URL, but this URL should be parsed correctly. So I'm going to be doing something called URI.parse. Okay. And inside that, I'm going to be going ahead and adding my URL. Okay. So maybe I'll just copy this URL right here and then we'll paste that over here. So inside this, I'm going to paste this Flutter video URL, something that will be there in the description along with this code definitely. So you don't have to worry about that. So you can see that we have our video controller set with our URL. Okay. But something that we've not done yet is initialize this controller. So how do you do that? Nothing. You're going to do video controller dot initialize. Okay. Then I'm saying, look, think about this, right? In the init state, what I am doing here is I am setting the initial state, correct? And I want to set the initial state once this is loaded properly. So whenever this is initialized, then I want to just call the set state once so that this state is proper, my video is loaded properly, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do at then, okay? Then what I will do is I will go ahead. So that you have value as you see a parameter called value comes here. So I'm just going to go ahead and create an empty function. Maybe we can skip this for now. And then what this function will do is nothing but it will set the state for me. Okay. So this will be nothing, empty for now. Okay. So if I go ahead and close this function, you can see that there's an error that we see. And that error is the null function cannot be assigned to the parameter future or dynamic. Okay. So you're going to be creating this right here, which will be an empty parameter, something that we'll not be using. Okay. So you're saying that video controller initialize, then yes, set the state. Okay. Once that is done, something that we told before also is we want the controller to loop, right? So you're going to be set looping to be true. Done. Our init state is overridden successfully. Now let's go ahead with the rest of the code, which is just building this video player now. Okay. Now I'm going to go change this constant placeholder. Maybe I just save now to show you what this looks like. You can see only the placeholder is there. No problem. Now I'm going to be returning a scaffold. Okay. So in this scaffold, I'm going to be adding an app bar first. In this app bar, I will just create an app bar, very simple app bar only with just a title. And I will set the title to be a constant text saying video player, right? Maybe I want to center the title. Okay, I save now. You can see that you get a video player as the app bar. Again, very nice. What am I going to do for the body? Okay, so once this app bar is done, I'll just give a comma. I'll go to the body, and obviously my body, I'll wrap this with a center widget so that it's there in the center. Okay, now for this widget, I have to have a child, correct? That child will now, okay, now this will be a very complicated line, but this will be a ternary operator as before. What this will be is my video controller. Okay, when it is initialized, add the child to be a video player. Okay, if it is not initialized, I want you to add this to a circular progress indicator, which will be a loading animation. Okay, that's what I'm going to be doing over here. What I will say here is when it is loaded, how do you know if it is loaded? Well, there is this function called initialize. So I can check whether the value is initialized or not. And that's something that we're calling it. Correct? So what I will do here is this video controller I have, right? So what I will do is if the value of this video controller, if it is initialized, you can see you have a boolean. It's if whether it's true or false. Maybe I can go ahead and remove this now so that we can have some space. And yeah, is initialized. Okay, I'm going to be checking this. Okay, that's what we talked about in the ternary operators. You're going to have one variable and you're going to be dealing with the cases for that variable. Correct? If this variable is true, I will go ahead and create a video player with the video player widget, passing our video controller as a parameter. Something that we also discussed is what if that is false and that is determined by the colon symbol. I'm just going to go ahead with a circular progress indicator, which says nothing but keep this loading. Maybe you won't be seeing this when you're demoing because my network is a bit fast. But if you're going with a slower network, you can actually see that it keeps loading until the video player is loaded. Okay. Now our video player is there. Now, if we go ahead and save this, you can see that the video player is there. We can't control it because you haven't initialized what to do with the button, right? Whether you want to pause or play that, right? For that, what you do is we create a floating action button next. So after this center right here, let me go ahead and create a floating action button. There, I'm going to be creating the floating action button widget, right? There, what I will do is I will just simply say on pressed, right? Sorry, on pressed is already there. This autofill keeps messing things up. I swear to God. Okay. So on pressed, what I'll do is I will go ahead and set a state. Okay. Because I'm going to be setting this to the pause state and the play state, right? There, that means I will go ahead and define a function here itself so that I don't have to name it. There, what I will do, nothing. I'll say if this video controller is there, right? If the value of the video controller is playing, similar to how we checked whether it's initialized or not, we'll check whether it's playing or not. Okay. If it is playing, I will go ahead and do vid controller dot pause. Okay. Similarly, else I will go ahead and set the vid controller to play. Okay. If it is paused, I'll set it to play. If it is playing, I'll set it to pause. Okay. Once that is done, maybe I should add this one right here and all of this works. Now, obviously, I need to have something, some text on the button itself. So I'll go for the button. I'll set a child to be a text P. I think the most optimized way is to add a constant. So that now once I click save, you can see that we have our floating action button right here. If I press on it, you can see that the video plays along with sound. You can see that it's playing with sound right there. I click this button again, you can see that my video stops. Now this will be something that is always looped so that this will keep running so that you can demo it properly. So you can press the play pause and you can always stop and restart this also. If you're doing it with a slower network, maybe you'll see what the loading also looks like. But in my case, it just loads pretty fast. So you're not able to see that. But this is I hope this was simple. This is what video player is. Now, obviously, you can make it a lot more complicated. You can add and how much progress you have the video right there with the pause inside the video itself. You can wrap this inside an aspect ratio widget so that you can control what the size of the video is. That is all something that you can do. But by basic, the simplest way to implement a video player is how you do it here. Okay. I hope you're able to understand this video. If you did, that's awesome. Hit that like button if this video helped you. If you guys have any questions, however, let me know down in the comments. I'll try my best at answering them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video on then.